A sweetheart couple in the Christian community are under fire for spotlighting a gay couple in one of their TV shows and even giving praise to a polyamorous living situation involving children. The praying citizen is joining us to sort through the online chatter and how Christians should be approaching this culture war. We're also joined by a father who lost his son after being coerced to get him the COVID-19 vaccine. He's been warning others of the deadly reaction his son got and has a passionate message to share about how we must approach the Maha movement. The news you need to know, but with solutions and hope. This is Get Free with Christy Lee. Today we have a special guest, Lori Colley, who I have frequently brought on my other program, Get Free with Christy Lee. And Lori Colley, I love having her because she's digging for truth and how to pray about it. So that really sets her apart from how we deliver news. She writes and produces Praying Citizen newsletter to keep patriots and truth seekers updated on current events. With her husband, Bob, they sort through the noise and nonsense to provide excellent content and prayer points on politics and culture. Welcome back, Lori. And culture. Yeah, that's a big one that we have been digging into lately because it seems like there's quite the cultural firestorm if you just scan through social media right now, particularly when it comes to what I keep calling a sweetheart couple of the Christian community, Chip and Joanna Gaines. So I know you wanted to start with talking about that.
Yes. Well, the picture perfect couple isn't so perfect. And so I kind of saw a little bit of it on Saturday, and then I started digging into it on Sunday, and my feed was slammed on X. And what has happened is Chip and Joanna Gaines, the beloved HGTV stars and home design entrepreneurs, the gray people, because everything was gray, they just lost something that money can't buy, and that is the loyalty of their Christian audience. So Chip released a promo of this new HBO Max series. It's called Back to the Frontier, where three families leave modern life to find what matters most on a journey back to the 1800s American frontier. So that calls to mind all kinds of fun things, Little House on the Prairie, and, just this more simple, harder life that people had back then. But we don't connect that with hiring or finding and actually recruiting a couple of homosexual men who have two sons that were, basically birthed out of a test tube in a rented womb. So there's just three couples, there's three families, and this is one of the families. And what's interesting is Chip called it a social experiment plus family time well spent. A social experiment, yeah, and it's not going to succeed because, the Christian audience is not going to be there for this. At least a lot of us won't show up to watch this show. And so you'll see right there the two men and their babies, which were conceived at the same time and then put in, I think it's the same woman's womb, and she gave birth to them. And so it's surrogacy, right? And we did discuss that on a show, I think the last time I was on with you, just the horrors of surrogacy anyway. So this is what they're doing, and it's been coming. And I didn't know this because I kind of gave up on Chip and Joanna a long time ago just because I didn't have time and I kind of lost interest in it. But in 2020, Joanna changed her picture on Instagram to a black square in solidarity with BLM. Then the June 2020 cover of her magazine featured a pride flag. And then, of course, they were always in Target as soon as, that was a big deal for them to get into Target. And then when the retailer went full LGBTQ, they stayed there. And their Magnolia Journal magazine, there's really not a lot Christian about it. It's very humanistic. It's inspirational, but there's no clear message of faith in Christ. So it's just, whatever. I mean, they're free to do whatever they want to. I think you would agree with their marketing, but I think they made a huge mistake with this one.
Well, I mean,
So,
it seems like more watering of faith down to appease the masses, and I think there's two trains of thought on this, and I know you're not finished, but I just want to interject this. Like, I do get frustrated when the Christian community elevates this as like the end all sin. I mean, there's so many people sin, whatever. I don't think that's the point here. Is that we're trying to elevate this as a sin, but the fact that it's a coordinated effort to normalize this as something that isn't so clearly addressed in the Bible. It is very, very straightforward. So I think it's really that effort to normalize and condone, rather than, you can be kind to others, obviously, that are sinning, but condoning is a different animal.
I totally agree with you. And what's interesting is we have a little clip from an interview they did with an outlet called Queerty. I don't know. So they explain, not only was it their goal, these guys have another thing that they do, and it's called the Teddy Bear Party, and it's an LGBTQ foundation. Of course, it's 501c3, so it's a charity, where they are promoting equality, social justice, and defeating disease. But so these two guys are Joe Riggs and Jason Hanna, and they portray themselves as just a couple of regular dads trying to raise their sons. But what's interesting is that this was a concerted effort on the part of Chip and Joanna to find a homosexual couple to put on this show. And so we've got a little clip of them in this interview where they explain how it came about that they're on Back to the Frontier.
How did you hear about this opportunity? Who was more invested from the jump? Who took more convincing? I want to know that whole story.
When I first saw the flyer on social media, there was a gay couple on the flyer. And so that initially kind of sparked my interest, and I was very much intrigued in learning more about the show and kind of what that experience was going to be. I'm super honored that when they were choosing 3 modern day families, that they did choose a same-sex couple as a modern day family, because we are, and like, we are your neighbors and your coworkers. And so it was this great, amazing opportunity to normalize same-sex couples and same-sex families.
I didn't want to do it, to be honest. I was like, what are we doing? Why would we put ourselves in this situation to really rough it? That's not we love our modern conveniences. I was on board with the whole concept of continuing to normalize same-sex families. I think through our Instagram, through our 2 Dallas Dads account, that's one of the reasons we put ourselves out there, because of our adoption issues and feeling the need that other families have other struggles still in other states. So it was just important for us to continue to spread that message.
And see, there's what's at issue is the agenda. It is the agenda to normalize, and there are so many elements to this, but it breaks my heart for the kids that, as another person had posted, and so many of the posts that were going on about this, these are young boys that were taken from the only mother that they ever knew, and will never really get to know what it's like to have that element, and if we truly value the way that God created things, man and woman and the order of things, and it's so sad for those kids that they're having to miss out on that for selfish commerce. Like, these men bought their babies. You know what I mean? And it's one thing to be loving and, I guess, tolerant, but it's another thing to condone and put a stamp of approval on this as a Christian.
I completely agree. And I don't know if they got the same woman to provide eggs, or if they went to 2 different women to provide, but they bought the eggs, probably. And then they rented a womb. I mean, where are women in this? Women, this all kind of started with, the feminist movement. And here we are today with these guys, and I'm sorry, but why is it that these men always have boys?
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't want little girls being raised there, but I don't want little boys being raised there either, because there's such a strong connection. Well, anyway, we don't want to go there, but it's just weird, right? And
Yeah.
those boys will never have a mom. I mean, gosh, and I know that happens, but to purposefully go out there and create children that will never have a mother. I mean, anyway, as moms, right? It's hard for us
Yeah.
to
Very,
think
very.
about that. So then we're back with Chip and Joanna, and they kind of, their life is their life, and they make their own decisions. But one day, everybody's going to stand before God. And in November of 2022, there was a big article in Variety, which is the entertainment industry outlet, showing them having made this deal with HBO Max / Warner Brothers / Discovery to be on that team and to create content for them. Well, they're said to be longtime friends of CEO David Zaslav, who is he's head of everything. And he wanted them to bring their huge fan base to a new streaming service. And so he says in this little article, everything they touch turns to gold. And we have no doubt the one-of-a-kind programming they and their talented team at Magnolia Network bring to life will prove to be an important driver for our upcoming combined streaming service. And then he said that their show Fixer Upper The Castle quickly became a top 5 program, and he wanted more of the same. Of course, what is it all about? It's about money. It's always about, just 30 pieces of silver. You can always trace it back when you look at entertainment back to the fame is one thing, but it's the money that's the other. At least that's my opinion, because why did Jesus tell the rich young ruler, it's going to be really hard for you to enter the kingdom of heaven because you've got all this stuff that's pulling you towards the world. So let's see. I wanted to just kind of go through some of these comments that they had, maybe I won't read all of them, but one guy on X wrote, "Nothing says family like two sodomites in a wicked relationship with no ability to reproduce, limited only to eugenics," which is what it is, "or human trafficking, in order for them to obtain a child that they are statistically likely to abuse or even worse." And Sean Davis, who is the editor of The Federalist, said, "Affirming sin isn't loving. Go and sin no more. Enjoy your millstone." And so Chip, who's, he's ready for this, and I'm pretty sure he runs his own account because it's full of misspellings and poor punctuation. Just saying. So he has the same tired response we always hear. Don't judge, just love. Jesus said, love your neighbor. And so he writes, talk, ask questions, listen, maybe even learn. Too much to ask of modern American Christian culture. Judge first, understand later, or never. And then he said, it's a sad Sunday when non-believers have never been confronted with hate or vitriol until they're introduced to a modern American Christian. Judge not, love one another. It's not difficult. So, they love to do that. Cherry pick. He says he's no better than an atheist who will cherry pick scriptures, to prove their point, forgetting the rest of the Bible, like James 5:20, which says that he which converts the sinner from the error of his ways shall save a soul from death and hide a multitude of sins. That's not judgy, but that's also the truth. So I kind of feel sorry for Chip and Joanna, because I think they've gotten tunnel vision. They fill their lives with people who are way out there, such as, and you might have a picture of this, their personal and professional relationship with this photographer who is named, he's got a really Southern name, Billy Jack Bronner. He's their director of photography. He and his wife, Sarah, have 5 children. They adopted 4, so 1 is theirs, and she's in the green. He's on the right side of the picture, kind of lighter, more fair-skinned, and then the guy on the other side is his boyfriend that moved into the home.
So weird.
So
Right.
weird. And so you would think that Joanna would, maybe they would say something. Oh, no, no, no. Back in 2021, he writes this, I won't read it. It's just disgusting. It's this post on Instagram. He says, so I'll just say this. I was a gay little boy who grew up absolutely hating myself, and I'm a gay man who's learning to absolutely love myself. I am so good. I am raising babies who are so good with my best friend on the planet who is so good. I'm in love with a man who is so blah, blah, blah. And she writes, you are so good. We love you. I mean, gosh, you could have stood with that guy and said something that wasn't quite so complimentary to his lifestyle, but she chose not to do that. So I think, we've got a couple who, instead of Christians who are struggling in a worldly environment, we've got worldly people who are struggling to appear like they're still Christians. And I don't know. I mean, there was I guess that's between them and God. But, if you get yourself into that place where you love the world, then the love of the Father is not in you.
Absolutely. But this is obviously something that sparked a lot of emotion and people really lashing out on them. I don't know if that's the best way to reach them, but obviously, we got to share truth in love, because as you pointed out in that verse, this is about saving souls and rescuing people from a destructive lifestyle. But it seems like emotions on people are especially high right now. There's a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, speaking of children and the desire to save and protect them, that's what I think has a lot of people so angry at the Trump administration right now, is just because they don't understand. They don't. I mean, and if they don't understand, they want to know what's going on. They want to know that this is still a priority, protecting kids in the face of the Epstein flop, as far as that goes. But it does look like there is perhaps a sliver of hope that this is going to come back on the radar for the Trump administration. Maybe we'll get a peek at, hopefully, more work that they're doing at least according to his daughter-in-law, right?
Yeah. That was an interesting comment she made. She went on with Benny Johnson, and she talked about she knows it's important to the Trump base and that Trump will set things right. She kept saying, it looks like. So it's not hard and fast, but she said to anyone worked up out there, there is no plot to keep this information away. I'm sure we will know down the line. I think they need to do something. I don't think that they handled this well. You've got so many people that are just, all they can see is red. Because I started writing about this stuff back in, I don't think it was 2017, when I, saw what was going on, and it made a lot of headlines in the, if you want to call it, the conspiracy community. But you can't then come back 8 years later and go, there's nothing there. I mean, it just doesn't work.
No, it's
much as we
definitely
love
not
Donald
working.
Trump.
And Lori, like, even for me, when I'm seeing certain people posting like, it's time to move on, we have other things we need to talk about, I'm like, my first thought is that I'm being gaslit. My first thought is like, who is paying them to like try and sweep this under the rug? It's just so unnatural and feels icky. And if we talk about our discernment, we're like, nope, something not right about that. But there was a call that went viral of someone that had called into Glenn Beck, and I just think it speaks to the passion, the charge in people that, no, you have to do more with this. This is not going to fly. So I'm just going to play a portion of that call just because you can hear it in his voice. So let's just listen, and then we'll talk on the other side.
Hi, Glenn. Hi, Jason. I tell you what, guys, I feel really betrayed, and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this? Seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud. He talks about the Hunter Biden laptop. He talks about all this stuff from 5-6 years ago, and he tells us to move on from the Epstein trial or the Epstein case. People like me will not stop talking about this. I feel so betrayed and so angry. This is not what I voted for. If we do not stand up for the children of this country, we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing. And I tell you what, I've also lost a lot of respect for a lot of people that are prominent figures in this country because they are saying, you know what, this doesn't matter. Like Carrie Lake came out on Saturday. She's like, you know what?
Yeah, I mean, so you can hear in his voice, he sounds like he's crying. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's sad. Like, it's just stuff. This can't be an open and shut case. I'll tell you that. Some things got to be done here.
And I thought it was interesting. This barely made it onto the headlines. They had a rules committee vote last night at the House on releasing the Epstein records. So Ro Khanna, who is a Democrat, he brings forth I don't understand all the intricacies of it, but the House committee voted 7-5 to block the release of the Epstein records. All the Democrats voted for it to be released, and one Republican, Ralph Norman, and all the rest of the Republicans voted that it can't be released. And so here we are. You know, the midterms will be here before we know it. And if you're going to do this kind of stuff, you're going to lose people like that man. And he represents tens of thousands or more. And, you know, it wasn't, I know Trump likes to say that 2020, what year was it? 2024 was a landslide, but it really, I mean, he won all 7 swing states, but he cannot afford to lose people. We have such slim, barely margins of majorities. And I'm concerned,
especially if we haven't worked out
was
the election fraud and cheating, which is why we're constantly talking about that here on this network, because we do know that there's still election fraud that needs to be rooted out. And so, I mean, as long as he has to get that and then plus whatever, because we haven't rooted out all of the cheating. I mean, yes, he cannot afford to lose anyone. So we need to figure out how we can get to the bottom of that. So you think that there's some main questions that we need answered, right?
I do. And, you know, it's kind of like, okay, my questions were, all right, so if there were 10,000 videos of Epstein, you know, watching these children being horribly treated, who abused them? I mean, where did the videos come from? How come they can't, with all the technology we have today, why can't this be traced? And can't we find those adults? You know, the distributors, something. People know things, okay? Then if there's really nothing there, which Trump says, oh, it's, you know, he's a, you know, the man who's a nobody. Well, then just lay it all out there. So you know, Glenn Beck filed FOIA requests to get all of Dan Bongino's texts regarding Epstein that were sent to Pam Bondi. But I don't think he's going to get them. I think that this is harder to find than the Holy Grail, you know, than the Ark of the Covenant. It's so deep. Who empowered Epstein? I remember writing about this stuff 8 years ago. We knew that Bill Barr's father gave Epstein a job at a girls' school. Now, knowing what we know now, that's where these people always end up, right? Wherever the kids are, that's where they're going to be. Bill Barr is the one who looked at the videotape and said, well, you know, he killed himself. So many things. Virginia Giuffre all of a sudden died in April. She committed suicide. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then you've got Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father was Mossad. He died. He drowned. It was a weird drowning plus a heart attack. That, you know, and that's after he defrauded people of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The only person who's alive that you could get your hands on right now that's directly related is Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a nutcase. So there's an older 60 Minutes Australia interview out there. And I watched this interview, and it's like too many different pieces to try and play it in, you know, for us. But there's a therapist on there, and she calls her a monster. She said she is a monster. She was groomed by her dad, who was basically also a monster, to be a master manipulator. So now Ghislaine Maxwell wants to go talk to Congress. And the Republicans are all saying, no, we don't want her here. And the Democrats, of course, they think it's going to hurt Trump, so they want her. But all she really wants to do is she wants a retrial or to have her conviction overturned. And she's crazy. So we're not going to, I don't think she's going to.
Just to be the devil's advocate on that for a moment, if you have this administration saying, oh, there's nothing to see here, and you have all these people commenting, then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? If there are no, or if
Yes.
she wasn't trafficking the girls to anyone, why is she rotting in jail? And so this could just, like you said, be an opportunist move. Like, hey, there's a lot of people saying I shouldn't be here if there's no there. So maybe I should try and get out, you know?
Yeah, she's smart and she's a manipulator, so she will use this to her advantage. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there are just some days when I want to pull my hair out because, you know, when it's all said and done, the problem we have is a house divided against itself that will not stand. When you've got half a MAGA ready to throttle President Trump because he won't pay attention to this issue, and the other half saying, well, it's fine, just let it go, that we can't, you know, we've got to find a middle ground there somewhere. So I heard talk that maybe there would be a special counsel, I don't know, appointed, but you know, these special counsels, excuse me if I'm a bit of a cynic, but they'll take the next 3.5 years of Trump's presidency before they finish their investigation, right?
Yeah.
And
that's
it'll
true.
come out, you know, just, so I can't get too excited about that. So I thought we might consider perhaps you have some thoughts. What do you think is going on here?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to keep an open mind as far as, you know, there's some people saying that this is something that can't be revealed just yet, you know, just trust Trump and, you know, this could be a tactic. And it's hard though, because there's a whole lot of the trust the plan and a lot of like, be patient that didn't ever really pan out. Although,
Never panned
you know,
out.
we do have him in office right now. So yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to keep an open mind about things, but this is really where we do need to pray for truth and justice to be revealed, right?
Right. I mean, so, you know, I think there are like maybe 4 things. So maybe the first one, it's like pulling a thread and the whole garment comes apart. So maybe that's maybe that's why Trump doesn't want to handle this. Because you know, our whole government will just absolutely be exposed, and then what do we have, right? You can't build it if it's completely destroyed. So then, okay, maybe he's protecting another country. Of course, I'll say Israel. Okay, whatever. Maybe he's protecting world leaders. You know, well, the prince for one. Is he still a prince? I don't remember. Andrew, who was in the picture with. Yeah, it's Andrew. Okay, so maybe it's, you know, people in high places. All right. Or maybe Trump is worried they'll pull a crossfire hurricane on him. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong the first term, and they went after him like, you know, they're still waiting to impeach him. So maybe he just doesn't want to touch it because it could backfire on him. Or maybe the Obama CIA is still holding all the cards, and you can't crack that nut. They destroyed key evidence, and then possibly they buried whatever else they wanted to keep in order to use it later if needed. So I don't know. Maybe it's better if we do just kind of back off and just, you know, keep praying, because one day God is going to judge all of this. And so we don't have the final say, so we don't know what's going on. I mean, every day that I get older, I think I'm more dumb than I was the day before, because I have no idea what's going on. You know, it's just like, okay, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I think prayer and just asking God to help us have the right attitude about this, that we decide no matter what happens, we're, our God is in heaven. He's not Donald Trump. He's not sitting in the White House.
Yes.
And just to support the president the best we can, knowing that our faith is not in man. So that would be
Yes,
my
absolutely.
prayer for all of this.
Yeah, I think we all too easily forget about that we're supposed to pray for our leaders, that we're supposed to, if you're mad at Trump right now, that's the time that you should be praying the hardest, that he will be given discernment to know what to do in this situation. But the most likely thing seems to be that it has something to do with the national security issue, perhaps since things aren't resolved with Ukraine and Russia yet, since things aren't resolved in the Middle East quite yet. Perhaps this is just really bad timing to have something that could blow up. So we don't want that to literally happen. So we do, in a sense, have to trust on the timing of the issue. But yeah, I think people are just so sick of being gaslit that they're like, give us something, give us we'll take it if you give us the reasoning. Like, just say that you can't, you're going to put that on pause right now because of the time. Just give us something, right? But yeah, great time to pray. Lori, I want to make sure that you tell people where they can find your news analysis so that they know how to look at things from a biblical worldview and have those prayer points.
Great. Thank you. So my main vehicle is loricolley.substack.com. That's where the news, and then I also put it on prayingcitizen.wordpress.com. And then I get it on Rumble, it's on X, and it is also on Brighteon. You can follow me on X. Let me see if I've got my link. It's
At Bob Colley, right?
It's Bob. It's Colley Bob, and then it says
Colley Bob.
Lori Colley on there. And I'm also
Yeah.
on Facebook, Praying Citizen. So yeah, it's confusing because I lost my ex account and I've never gotten it back, so I had to take my husband's.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you for your work.
So.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you again soon. And yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Lori. Up next, a father who lost his son to the COVID-19 shot is now a man on a mission. Hear his reaction to the recent approval of the Moderna jab for kids. But first, just want to remind you, if you want to continue to hear from people like that, Ernest Ramirez, then you're going to want to support MyPillow.com. You can go to MyPillow.com/KL. That's MyPillow.com/KL and use promo code KL. As you know, Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of his life, and he's doing that with bed sheets and pillows. They look and feel great and make for an even better night's sleep for me, which is so crucial because with a little baby, I'm not getting much sleep lately, so it needs to be good sleep. He's offering the best deal on Giza Dream bed sheets, so make sure you pick up any of those in any color. You can get those pillows, even get new ones if you that's about that time for you to get new ones. Also want to give a shout out to the new energy drink. It's called Rev 7. It's a premium energy drink. Actually tastes good for you. All three flavors are delicious. I like really sour things, so the green apple is my fave personally. This energy drink has no sugar, no caffeine, so you're not experiencing jitters or crashes. What makes it so special is it's powered with Cognizant, a premium nootropic, helps fuel your mind, and Go BHB, a primary ketone in your body, for the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. So again, go to mypillow.com/KL, use promo code KL, and get yourself some sleep good stuff as well as some energy good stuff for the day. And we'll be back right after this.
Swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids. But not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrilled.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer.
A new study from the Czech Republic is raising eyebrows about COVID vaccines and pregnancy. According to Children's Health Defense, research on 1.3 million women shows those vaccinated before conception had a 33% lower rate of successful pregnancies compared to unvaccinated women. Published in the International Journal of Risk and Safety in Medicine, the study is calling for more digging into vaccine safety, though critics point out limitations like missing data on age or health. Okay, so more and more studies are verifying the dangers of the mRNA vaccines. You know, one father wishes he had been given informed consent. He felt like he was just following the advice of the doctors who he's been conditioned to be told know better and doing the best for his son. Well, ultimately, he made the ultimate sacrifice, losing his son to a COVID-19 vaccine reaction, which had enlarged his son's heart, a known risk for the vaccine. So he's been at a crusade ever since, spreading the word about this horrible thing that happened to his son, and also just lending a helping hand everywhere. Such an inspiration. Ernest Ramirez joining me now. Thank you so much for coming on DC Dispatch.
Hello, ma'am. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. I know you've been keeping busy. You actually were just right here in Texas, where I am helping with flood relief. And I want to talk to you about the latest in Maha, but you might as well, since you just got back from Texas and helping out there. Tell me what you witnessed, what you think happened. Let's cover that first.
Okay. Yes. Well, I do live here in Texas, and well, I travel throughout the country and abroad. My dear friend, Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers, as we all know, he's a wonderful man. He was talking about the floods in Kerrville, and then that same next morning, I packed up and left. I went over there to help with the search and rescue, the cleanup. Well, it's horrible. I mean, as everyone knows, I was in North Carolina also doing the same thing with the James Clinic.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have to do this, helping each other. Right? I didn't see any government officials there. I didn't see anybody helping other than volunteers. The destruction it was terrible. And then the families, I'd parked somewhere at, Home Depot, gas station, wherever, and I had people coming up to me, asking me or talking to me, telling me their stories. And that's why I tell people it does, I fight for my son. I fight for my vaccine injured. But then I looked over here and the children that were affected by these storms, and I haven't seen anything natural like that here in Texas before. I had posted where my truck was, and I was standing between the river and my truck, just so people could see the force of the water. I said the water went all the way up there, and I said, now that you see the force that it took to bend these big trees, I said, now imagine being a baby hanging on for dear life. Their only worries were having fun that weekend camping. And now they were spending days alone in a tree, screaming. I'm pretty sure they're screaming for their parents. And no one around to help them. And it was horrible. It was really, really horrible just to imagine that. I don't want people just to see the disasters. I want them to put themselves in the position of that baby, that little child, going through this whole thing that they had to put up with. And like I said, yes, if I was in charge, I think the following day I would have sent off the National Guard at least to go help with search and rescue. Don't depend on, everyday people, which, like I said, it was beautiful to see all the volunteers there and, working day and night. It was unfortunately, that's the way we have to be now as a people, as a nation, because, like I said, I don't trust my government. I no longer have. I did, and for trusting them, I lost. So now I'll never do that again. I won't confide in my government or my politicians. I've screamed out. I said, if you're too afraid to stand up for your own people, maybe they should give me the funds and resources so I can do what they should be doing. You know, like I said, I'm just an average person. I'm not a politician. I'm not an elected official of any sort. I'm not a billionaire, but I do have common sense. I have my Lord and Savior that He's the one that sends me to these places. I don't pick and choose where I'm going. While I was up there, I had people calling me from North Carolina that they were being infected again. Then I had people asking me if I was to be able to go to New Mexico because what was going on over there. I can't be everywhere. I just try to be where I can at the moment. So, like I said, it's horrific what our world is going through. It's coming to an end. People just don't realize it. They think we're making this up or, there's no such thing. It's just something that happens. No, it's not. I mean, like I said, I see it with my own eyes. I try to make people understand. If they ever seen that movie, The Matrix, I feel like Neo. Somebody woke me up and I can see what the world looks like for real. And I would love to go back to sleep. I don't want to know. I wish I didn't know half the things I know now. It's just devastating to me. I mean, it's a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Well, it's amazing to see your journey and how God has uniquely prepared you to help others, taking this ashes situation that you were handed with your son and having to lose him, taking such a horrible situation, and then using you to make beauty out of it in the sense that you're literally able to save lives by warning other parents through your tragedy. You have that deep empathy, like even talking about the other children in the Texas flooding. Now you totally get it. You're totally tuned in and tapped into crimes against our youth, and we do hope that we'll get more answers as to how this could have happened to such a degree. Of course, I've talked to people that are blaming weather control and stuff, and I hope that we do get to the bottom of that, because it seems like over and over they're really attacking us on every level, the population as a whole. But we also see beauty in others. I did listen to a song that someone wrote for you, inspired by your story, and I wanted to share at least some of that song, because for those that don't know your story, it kind of tells your story, and it is quite beautiful. So let's take a moment to listen to that song.
Hitting the road to help others see, so much pain shared unselfishly, to honor his son and repeat his name, standing for life, not for money or fame. A father's love never fails, his son's story he must tell, taken away by evil and lies, knowing that this is a temporary goodbye, speaking from the mountaintop, determined never to stop. Our lives matter, no more dreams shattered. It's a calling from God, a purpose we must. In his words the world must trust. Off to the next place to talk about Junior. Timing is now, but better the sooner. A father's love never fails, his son's story he must tell, taken away by evil and lies, but above he eternally flies. Listen to his story, remember this talk. A message of sadness and unbelievable shock. But he will honor his son by helping others. At the end of the day, we are all sisters and brothers. A father.
So good. And if you want to see the entire song, you can go to Ernest Ramirez's page there on X. He goes by RGV Runner 01, RGV Runner 01 on X, and watch the whole thing. And just watching that and the pictures, I mean, it's just like gives you goosebumps. And I love that picture of you, and you'll have to forgive me because I can't remember her name, of the little girl that was injured. She was used in the VAX trials.
Maddie DeGarry.
Yes. Yes. I love that
Excuse me.
picture of you, just arm around her, you know, and it's just
Yes.
so neat that you all were
She's
affected by
beautiful.
this evil that brought you together.
I feel like she's my own little girl. I love the heck out of that little girl. I was talking to Steph the other day. I said, the only thing I asked my Lord and Savior for it is I want to be able to see her walk down the aisle one day on her own two legs. She means a lot to me. She does. She went through a lot. And to this day, our government still hadn't stepped in to help her financially or medically. And which is, I mean, I hate it. It's terrifying because I've always said, if like I hurt somebody, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to help that person, you know, knowing that I did wrong. Our government hasn't even bothered to do that. Our government hasn't even bothered to tell me, you know, send me condolences or apologize. At least say, we're sorry for what we did to your son. They haven't done that to me or anyone else that I know of. And like I said, I've had vaccine injured living in their cars. The other day, I had another friend that was kicked out of her apartment because she doesn't have the money. And she doesn't have for her medicals either. So, you know, if they have $20, somebody donates $20 to them, they have to pick and choose. Do I buy a sandwich or do I buy something that'll ease my pain for one day? It's just, it's terrible. Like I said, I wish I was in a better position so I can help everyone.
Well,
I don't know what to
Ernest,
do.
it's wild that you say that because I see you always on the move, helping people, helping in all these situations. So you're saying, I wish I could do more, but you already do so much. And we thank you for that. And we want to continue this theme that we keep on coming back to is people need to get loud. They need to continue to put this in the face of this administration, which it appears will listen at times. They've listened on other major topics. And I know that you saw that Pam Bondi did drop those charges against Dr. Kirk Moore after a lot of folks were getting really loud about it. So there's a victory there, right?
I'm thinking the only reason they did that because if they would have went to court, he would have spoke about why he did that and how the people were getting affected, killed, and injured with the vaccine. And they don't want that in the media. I mean, that's just my point of view.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
Well, we welcome all points of view because we support freedom of speech on this. And I mean, it's a definitely another angle there, but I definitely don't think we should give up getting loud about the things that we want to see changed and we want to see more action on. You know, it was really great to see RFK Jr. come out with the other doctors and say that they were removing the COVID-19 vax from the childhood schedule. But then just after that, and I'll spare playing the video clip because I think most know what I'm talking about. It was just like shortly after that we then get this article that the FDA is giving full approval to the Moderna COVID shot, and they're doing it under the guise of we need to keep this approved for at-risk kids. And so I got to believe that's got to be kind of a punch in the gut to see that news coming out, right?
The thing is too, I have a lot of parents telling me that their doctors are trying to convince them into getting their children vaccinated. And I tell them, you know what? I've never said what to do. I've never told anybody to take it or not to take it. I tell them to do your research. I said, at the same time, if they put you in a corner where you feel like they're going to force you to vaccinate your child, do something simple and tell them, okay, let's fill out a paper saying that you will be financially responsible and medically responsible if my child is injured. And if you're going to drop all liabilities, if my child dies, that you will take full responsibility on that part. If you're so pushing this thing so badly, you shouldn't have any problem signing a paper I ask you to sign to protect me, my child, and my family. That's the way I see it. Because,
Yeah.
once you're hurt and injured, you're thrown to the side, and then
Yeah.
nobody cares. Nobody cares. And the thing is too, some of these children, babies, they still are unable to speak, and they can't tell you it hurts or they feel sick. They have natural immunity. Why don't you give them a chance to grow up? FDA, if we have a bad case of fruits or vegetables, somebody gets sick, they pull it right away. We're going on 5 years already, and people have died and they've been injured. That should be murder and child abuse to me. And why is it still on the market? They continue doing this to the kids. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm not in any position to do anything, but we need more people to, like you said, stand up. Don't be afraid. I mean, would you rather lose your child, or will you die fighting to protect that child? That's the way I look at it. That's why I continue
Yeah.
doing what I do.
Yeah, and we so appreciate you for doing that, because we really have to continue to hold people's feet to the fire. What do you see next for Maha? What are you involved in coming up that we can support you in? Anything that you can tell us?
I don't have any plans for right now at the moment. I keep getting something inside my mind telling me I need to get to DC, not for any special event, to try to drive that truck around. If nothing else, go up there, sit on the White House lawn just for the attention, and or drive the truck around around all the monuments to get, blaring my sirens or whatever, just to get the attention so people can open their eyes. And
Yeah.
people are telling me you're gonna get arrested. I said, well, you know what? I think I need the publicity. It's worth it. I have nothing else to lose. It's
Yeah.
not like they're gonna hurt me in any way. So it's still in the mix. I'm not sure if I'll make it to DC, but hopefully I will. And
Yeah.
wherever I'm asked to go, I go. God's the only one that knows my next steps. Because I feel He put me in this position to do this job. I can't turn my back, because I always feel the day I stand in front of Him, and if He asks me, why didn't you do what I asked you? And I tell Him I didn't feel like it, I'm pretty sure His response would be, well, I don't feel like letting you in my house. So I have to prepare myself. I have to do what He asks.
Yeah, that's a heavy way to put it. Is the best way to follow what you're doing and support you going to your website, juniorsguardianvoice.com?
Yes, ma'am. There, you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and X, and Instagram. I try to contact, and please, for those that do send me messages, if I don't answer you right away, you got to realize I have thousands and thousands of people contact me on a regular basis. And then with brain fog, it's hard for me to remember all the messages or who sent me what messages. But bear with me, and I'll try to get back as soon as possible.
Yes, you're doing a lot of God's work, as we've already discussed. Well, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, for raising awareness, and please don't stop. And we want to help continue to support you and make our voices loud as well. We just cannot give up on this. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate the time.
You can't afford to assume life is always going to be safe. You see chaos everywhere when it comes from the riots or, all of the other craziness going on in the world. But the easiest way to hijack a population is actually to control their food. So if you have to rely on the government to eat, then you are at their mercy. So get free from rising beef costs. Go to prepperbeef.com/klbeef. Stock up on all American beef from ranches in Texas, and get free from mystery meat at prepperbeef.com/klbeef. There's no mRNA jabs ever, freeze-dried, stored in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers for a maximum shelf life, 10 plus years without refrigeration. So this is not dehydrated, it's not jerky, it's freeze-dried, and it retains that maximum nutrition and flavor. You just soak it in water for 15 minutes, and then you can cook it on up. So no beef crumbles. You can eat good, even in the worst situations, over there at prepperbeef.com/klbeef. All right. I want to make sure, again, that you go to mypillow.com, support that. And also don't want to forget about the scripture of the day. Ran out of time last week for this one, but considering all of the flooding that happened in Texas, this verse really stuck out to me. You don't get to quote from Amos too often. So it's Amos 5:24, but let judgment run down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. So good verse that stuck out to me there from Amos 5:24. Also want to encourage you to join me on Locals for some personal conversations and personal faith. I do a show there, Raw Faith, over there on ChristyLeeTV.locals.com. It's live and it's raw. No makeup, no nothing, just waking up and doing our Bible devotions together. So join me there and we can dig into the Bible together. Well, thank you again for watching, and don't forget to spread the word and share with friends. Get Free with Christy Lee, now on LindellTV.com.